This is a 1-minute long video where Braum was announced to be part of 2xKO. So why is this video as long as it is? Well, you see, if you find a tiny pebble and lift it up, you'll find a lot of nasty insects underneath it. I don't know how that's related to what I'm gonna talk about. But the point is, there is actually a lot to break down in this short and simple video. And so, let's have a look at what is currently happening around 2xKO. You see, before we dive into Braum being revealed, we should ask the question, why is he being revealed? Because there is a good reason why this happened yesterday. For those of you who don't know, 2xKO is getting ready for its Alpha Lab, which everyone can apply for. This is an at-home playtest that is currently scheduled for August. That's right, for the first time we will be able to try 2xKO at home, with all the major consoles also being supported. Of course, besides Switch. And yes, it is technically a closed alpha, so I'm pretty sure you'll have to be randomly selected. And when this playtest was announced, they also confirmed that a new champion will be playable there. Now, as far as I know, there were no leaks and it wasn't confirmed that it would be Braum. But a lot of people were convinced that's who it is, because all the sneaky teasers we got before this weren't so sneaky. As more and more marketing material was revealed, this screenshot bubbled up to the surface. People noticed there is a blank spot for the teased new champion. Not only that, people noticed that the champions are sorted here in reversed alphabetical order, meaning that whoever the new champion was, their name had to start with either A or B. And surprisingly, a lot of champions fall into that category. I mean, look at all the champions who are between Ahri and Darius. Now, of course, since this is a fighting game, people naturally clung to the more fighty champions. Mainly Alistar, Ashe, Bard, Blitzcrank, Brand and Braum. Also Akali was theorized a lot, but for the most part, these were the favorites. But then Riot posted this screenshot where we could see that the color of the new champion would be light blue. And so, after looking at this list, unless Anivia became a fighter, most people settled on Braum. Which is why, up until this point, you saw so many pictures of Braum underneath every 2xKO post. And a week later, here we are. So now, let's actually talk about the teaser. As I mentioned, there is a lot to break down here, and mainly it is 3 separate things: champion, the arena, and the music. Starting with the champion, it is amazing to see Braum in the game because he was on so many players' wishlist. Not to mention, we got yet another champion from the Ruined King game. Now we just have to wait for Miss Fortune and Pike and we got the full squad back together. And what's also funny, and this is pretty much the point of this video, is that since 2xKO is a tag team game, it seems like Riot is purposefully trying to pair the champions up. We have Echo with Jinx, whom we haven't seen in a while. We got Yasuo and Ahri, who, lore-wise, were very much interested in each other. Darius could be possibly paired up with Katarina eventually, who was teased at the very beginning where Project L was originally announced. And now it seems like the last person to get a partner is Illaoi, and she is getting Braum. I mean, even in the reveal, that is what was shown, which might confuse some of you. Why would Illaoi team up with Braum? Well, that's because the two almost banged in the Ruined King game.
Strength is a tool that allows us to live in the moment.
And I suppose we are having a moment now?
Yes. One we could have below deck.
Yes, Braum would love to continue discussing the Buru religion. But with the sea, the ship's rolling deck, Braum is afraid to take his eyes off the horizon. Oh dear. You must forgive me. When Braum is sick, it is a mighty storm. An avalanche of... Oh, please excuse me!
Man is strange. I like it.
So yes, I am not surprised about this. Now, from the gameplay, it seems like Braum is bringing in a very unique playstyle. He has a massive defensive tag that can get you out of sticky situations. Of course, he has a lot of different comedic moves, such as doing push-ups and using that to knock people into the air, after which they show us his first super. He simply throws down his shield and freezes his opponent, and then he drops down to break the shield out. From this point on, you might notice the shield is empowered with true ice. It seems like in this state his block is a lot stronger, but more importantly it seems like it does have a limited durability. It seems like after a while it will simply break. But there are also certain moves that can consume this charge to use a special attack. Namely, you can use the true ice to shoot it out and stun the enemy. What is cool about this is that you might notice that when he breaks it out, his shield gets the charge back. Which now brings up the question: just how much can you spam this move? His second super is also a very obvious reference to his ultimate in League of Legends. We get these jets of true ice spewing from the ground. And yes, Braum does also have a bunch of awesome taunts. Not to mention, he can also call in the mighty Poro, whom you may remember from Legends of Runeterra. So this is not just a random Poro appearing on screen. And after that we get a quick look at his ultimate ability. Here he just throws a bunch of Poro snacks at his opponents, and he summons a fluff of Poros, which we have not only seen in Legends of Runeterra, but now it is also a little legend in TFT. The interesting thing about this ability though is that when Braum uses it, the Poros hit the enemies. And the enemies have a special animation just for getting hit with this ability. I wonder how that's gonna work looking forward. Will every new champion have to get this specific animation for this specific ability? Did Riot really give every champion a unique animation just for this hit? And that includes Braum, by the way, because you can play a mirror match. Or is it possible that the champions share a facial skeleton? And so you can just copy animations from one champion to another. For the other animations, it's totally fine, you can just use the mid-air hit animation. But this frame specifically piqued my interest. Anyway, at the end they also show us that Braum can simply throw a Poro. It doesn't really seem to be a proper move, it kinda seems to be more of a taunt, like maybe the Poro deals 1 damage, kinda like what Samira has in League. So we'll see what happens with that. It was also confirmed that on the official 2xKO YouTube channel, we should be getting a short gameplay intro into how to play Braum tonight. So if you wanna have a closer look at the gameplay, it should be up now. And with that, that's really it for the gameplay. So now, let's have a look at the arena. Just looking around, it should be very obvious that we are on the Serpent Isles. Specifically, we are around the area that is occupied by the Buru, which is why everything around is seemingly themed around Ilaoi. Now, if you look at the main point of interest in the background, you might notice a serpent caller tower. And you can notice it is very close to the original design concepts. Of course, we know a lot about these because these are massive horns that protect Bilgewater from monsters. That's right, that thing at the very top is where you blow to sound the horn. In fact, these things have their own canonical description. Bilgewater's shores are protected by the horns that when blown disorient the waves through the waters to disguise Bilgewater's location from the sea monsters. And because these horns are built all around Bilgewater, that's why you can see more of them way there in the background. Of course, if you look at the sky, you can see there is a contrast of light and dark. This is really cool because it visually separates the arena into the two sides for the two players. And while it may be just a stormy cloud, it may be also referencing the black mist which comes from the Shadow Isles which are nearby. I mean, a similar location was teased in Legends of Runeterra before, though there we get a bunch of Demacians sailing to the Shadow Isles. Besides that, this part of the island has quite a few wrecked boats on it, all of which have the Buru marks on them. It also has all the braziers, which kinda remind me of the Buru wards which they light up to protect them from the Shadow Isles. And during a few frames you can also see what seems to be a part of a temple all the way to the right. So who knows, maybe the full version of this arena will actually have a temple on it. Now, as some people mentioned, yes, I do agree that this arena looks kinda empty. I mean, it is just a big shore. But Riot could do something cool here. What if the storm cloud is actually the black mist? And what if with each round it progresses further? And should you get into the final tiebreaker, the mist overtakes the arena, and now you'll be able to see all the ghastly spirits around you. It could be just a bunch of floating PNGs, but it would be something cool that would make this arena unique. Now lastly, we can also mention the music. At first, I wasn't sure if this was an official track for 2XKO. I mean, in the past, when it comes to reveal trailers, sometimes Riot got their music tracks from a third-party website. A great example of this is Galio's VGU trailer. As far as I know, that track doesn't belong to Riot. But here, it was confirmed that this is an official 2XKO track, and in fact, this is Braum's theme. The thing is, it doesn't really sound like Braum's theme, does it? Or at least, not like the original one. Well, it seems like this is an entirely new one that is unique to 2XKO. And in fact, it was confirmed every champion will get one. Now here, I have to say that the music direction for 2XKO is nuts. I love the fantasy elements weaved into the pop fighting culture, weaved into the Mick Gordon-styled guitar. In fact, that is why a lot of the soundtrack sounds like it came out of Doom. And what's cool is that Riot has been slowly releasing these tracks on their official YouTube channel. So in case you haven't heard it, here's the theme for Piltover. Here's Ionia. And here's Bilgewater. I mean, I have to admit, that Braum theme fits right in. And that's really all I wanted to cover today. Just some quick and simple news coverage about what's happening in 2XKO. As I mentioned, there are quite a few unique reasons why specific champions are picked for this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Braum was picked just for Illaoi. Which also makes me think that the next two champions should be Jinx and Katarina, just to give everyone a tag team partner. After that, Riot will probably go wild. They will likely start exploring other regions, and given how iconic it is, I wouldn't be surprised if the next one was Demacia, where you could go for the obvious siblings of Garen and Lux. You could also make an amazing duo with Jarvan and Shyvana. It could also be Sylas and Lux, Lux and Galio, Xin and Jarvan, Kayle and Morgana, and really, the choices here are endless. I just don't think you can fit in Vayne though, because she kinda hates everyone.